This one. Little nugget. Wow, look at it all. Wow. Add that to my kitty bag. Cool. What's up guys, this is Kiwi Gold Hunter here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you've all been well out there given the current events. As of today, we're sitting near the end of April 2020. And as you should all know by now, we're going through the global pandemic of COVID-19. Which means for little old New Zealand here, we've been in isolation, stage 4 lockdown for just over 4 weeks now. So for some of you out there, you might be starting to go a little bit crazy like me. Crazy? Who are you calling crazy? Whoa, who's this guy? I'm you idiot. Me? I don't think so. I am you, and you are me. Well, as I said then, you might be starting to go a little bit crazy like me. Who are you kidding? We've always been crazy. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get into this video then, eh? Sounds crazy to me. So this video is going to be the introduction to an 18-part series, with the first part being the introduction. What's up? This is Kiwi Gold Hunter. We will then give you the lowdown on what equipment we use to go gold prospecting and panning. In New Zealand, we have 17 public gold fossicking locations. In this video, we'll list all 17 for you and then make a video for each location for you to see, given why this is the first of an 18-part series. We'll also touch base on the rules associated with these areas and how to identify these locations. And last, we'll inform you of what didymo is and how to prevent it using the check, clean, dry method. With all that in mind, let's get into it then, eh? So here we are. We have 17 public gold fossicking sites based in the South Island of New Zealand. I'm going to list these now for you from north to south, with number 1 being Aorere River, Area A, followed by Area B. New Creek, Louis Creek, Lyell River, Stony and Britannia streams, Slab Hut Creek, Moonlight Creek, Nelson Creek, Shamrock Creek, Jones Creek, the Waihole River, Shotover River, Arrow River, 5 Mile Creek, 12 Mile Creek, and last but not least, Gabriel's Gully. So that's pretty cool of the Department of Conservation to put these sites aside for us to go and look for a bit of that old golden colour ourselves in our streams. So when you rock up to these sites, you're going to come across a sign much like this one here. The sign states, Gold Fossicking Area. This is an official mining site under Section 98 of the Crown Minerals Act 1991, held by the Department of Conservation. It will then go on to state the rules associated with this area. Rule 1. Fossicking is confined to the active stream bed within the signposted boundaries. 2. All natural and historic features are to be left undisturbed. 3. Only use of non-motorised hand tools are permitted. 4. Permitted hand tools include the following: pick, shovel, pan, and a rifle box, no greater than 1 metre in length and 20 centimetres in width. 5. All native plants and animals are protected. Please keep all gravel and rocks in the stream bed. Ensure the area you have worked is returned to it near its original condition when finished. So the first thing you're going to need to get started on your gold hunting adventure is some equipment. Yee-hoo-hoo-hoo! I'm going to show you now the equipment I use, but of course there are many different tools for the job, and it all depends on how you plan to find your gold to the equipment you're going to use. Now what are these ways, you ask? Well, we look for alluvial gold in river and creek beds, where we use a sluice and search the crevices for the gold. You can also high bank, dredge and use larger machinery, which all involves permitting. But today we're just going to focus on the equipment you're allowed to use in these public gold fossicking areas here in New Zealand. So as stated in the signage to these locations, the first thing you're going to need is a shovel. Make sure to buy or use one of these pointed nose shovels, not one of these. Trust me, they'll make your life very difficult. You are then going to need something to shovel your material into. So as you guessed it, bucket. Now I use 2 buckets. One larger bucket for the material and one smaller one to splash water around with. Now before you start shoveling this material straight into the buckets, you want to use a classifier to separate your larger rocks and stones as they're not gold. But make sure to check the stones before throwing them out of your classifier, as you never know if there's going to be a large nugget inside. You'll also need little hand trowel to move the material from the buckets to, you guessed it, the sluice. As mentioned earlier, the sluice can be no larger than 1 meter in length and 20 centimeters in width. And of course you'll need that trusty gold pad, which is how you're going to separate the gold from the concentrated material out of the sluice box. How are we going to drag all this stuff around? Good point. You're going to need a pack to carry all this. Remember, what you take, you have to carry, so try to keep it light. Now you don't need a fancy pack like this one. You just need one that fits all the equipment you wish to take for a comfortable hike to your chosen location. For searching crevices, I use a metal detector to narrow my search time down. Now you don't need one of these to find gold, but when you can afford to buy one, it makes a huge difference to finding those larger pieces. Also, one of these bad boys. I call this one the Crevice Soccer 3500. Comes in handy for getting into those tight spots. I'll also make a separate video on how to make one of those, for those of you out there who are interested. Also what will come in handy for crevices is this little metal spoon, some picks like these, which you can pick up from an automotive store, and you're going to need some gloves to protect those fingers from getting torn to shreds. And last but not least, the one item for some reason I still don't own, amateur move on his behalf, is a rock pick. Now this item will make getting into those crevices so much easier. I'll be buying one of these as soon as stores reopen again here in New Zealand. Now the last thing I want to inform you about is didymo. So what is didymo? In a nutshell, it's an introduced pest to New Zealand, which smothers our waterways in rock snot. Now to prevent this from spreading throughout our waterways, MAF Biosecurity New Zealand have introduced a simple check, clean, dry method for the public to follow to help prevent the control of this pest. The main thing to note is, if you restrict your activity to a single waterway, there is no need to check, clean, dry. But if you are moving around like myself, you are asked to use the check, clean, dry method. What is this, you ask? Well, first, check. Remove all visible plant material from your equipment such as sluice, buckets, classifier, and remember, don't forget your boots. Clean. Soak or scrub your equipment in water with detergent for at least a minute. Make sure the item is fully saturated. You are recommended to use a solution of 5% dishwashing liquid or 2% bleach. Dry. Wait until your equipment is dry to the touch and leave it to dry for at least 48 hours to make sure any invisible pests are completely dead. I have attached links in my description below for all the information you need in regards to this method. So there you go guys, hopefully you've made it this far in the video and it wasn't too boring for you. So that's the introduction to what I'm going to be doing, so that's what to expect from this channel in the future. So I've got 17 sites to head to. They're quite far in distance, spread apart, so it's going to take me a while to take this footage. But you're going to expect them to slowly roll out over the next year, videos to all 17 locations with videos of other areas as well thrown in the mix, not attached to this series. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Like, follow and subscribe. Ciao.